Hello everyone. As you can probably tell from the title and thumbnail, I'm reviewing Steins Gate today. I will normally put a disclaimer at this point in the video saying that there will be spoilers because I just love talking about the specifics of the animes I review since I kind of want to make it feel like I'm ranting about it to you guys, you know? But if I did that for this anime, even with the optimization of the script, this video would have surely been at least an hour long. Even so, I still might not be able to hold back, so I'll give a warning before any spoilers that will be said or shown on screen, if there are any. So, to start things off, I will firstly try to summarize the thought-provoking journey of Steins Gate. Steins Gate is a story about Rintaro Okabe, who goes by the self-proclaimed mad scientist named Hohoin Kyoma. One day, Okabe and his fellow lab members discover a way to send messages to the past, but in doing so, they catch the intention of corrupt corporate entities who've also been experimenting with time travel, and now they're being hunted down. Okabe, now with danger around every corner, does everything in his power to protect his lab members and those he cares about. Now, with the summary out of the way, I would like to mention two different watch orders for Steins Gate. The first being the emission order, and the second being the chronological order. Let's first start with the emission order. The emission order goes as follows. Steins Gate Kokamenjo no missing link divided by 0. And lastly, Steins Gate 0. Now, the chronological order goes as follows. Steins Gate, episodes 1 through 22. Steins Gate, Kyokamenjo no missing link divided by 0. Steins Gate 0. And lastly, Steins Gate, episodes 23 and 24. I'm going to be honest. You can watch it in whatever order you like, but I implore you to watch it in the chronological order. It would be a much more satisfying story than if you were to watch it in the emission order. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. And I would first like to start off by saying, holy fucking shit, was this anime a fucking journey, man. It hooks you from the very beginning, keeps you engaged throughout the entire story, and gives you a pretty satisfying ending. The characters are so easily lovable, and they're entertaining in their own ways. So, as you can probably tell, I thoroughly enjoyed this anime. I guess since I said I wasn't going to talk about anything specific, I'll firstly just talk about the experience of watching this anime. When you've already committed to investing your time to watch this anime, there is really no going back. Because once you start, you're not going to have a desire to watch the next episode per se, but you will always have a sense of curiosity of what's going to happen next. Like, personally, I would just be laying in my bed in the dark, just thinking about what could happen next when I'm supposed to be trying to go to sleep. I would also like to address Steins Gate's most popular component when it comes to its plot or method of storytelling. Its complexity. From what I've constantly heard about Steins Gate, people have always said that it's confusing. And honestly, it kind of is. If you follow pretty closely, then you'll be left with basically no questions whatsoever, but you do have to follow closely to fully understand it. By the end of it, personally, I fully understood everything, but I probably have to thank the way that I watched the anime for that. If you watched it in the emission order, then I can kind of see how it could be confusing and what questions it could leave you with when you finished it. Which leads to me why I implore you to watch it the way that I watched it, in the chronological order. The chronological order makes Steins Gate feel like a continuous, fulfilling story. But if you watched it in the emission order, it would feel more like a puzzle than a story. Because I'm going to say this right now. It's not spoilers about the contents of the show exactly, but more of the layout of the story. So, the last two episodes of the original Steins Gate season is about the ending of the whole series. But Steins Gate divided by 0 and Steins Gate 0 are the whole reason and story behind why the Steins Gate ending was able to even happen in the first place. That means, if you were to watch it in the emission order, you'll watch the lead up to the ending after the ending, which, just by me saying that, I'm sure you can see how that'll be a little less fulfilling than watching everything as a continuous story. And that's why I really encourage you to watch it in the chronological order. Now, I want to go a little more in depth about the aesthetics and characters of this anime. Honestly, I hate dull color palettes when it comes to anime. I love vibrant colors because I think it's easier to keep the viewer engaged that way. So, when I saw the dull color palette of this anime, I thought it was going to be a more serious and no fun type of anime, which made sense to me at the time, considering that it was known for being confusing. So I thought this was going to be the type of anime that takes itself too seriously. But I was so wrong, and I'm so happy that it turned out that way. Because every single one of the characters are so lovable, and the variety is also top tier. We have a dorky mad scientist, a wholesome angel, a cat girl, a mute stalker, a pervert hacker, and even a fucking femboy. Like, holy moly. And there's even more lovable characters than that. So, I'm just saying, the cast of characters for this anime is a huge factor that contributes to the enjoyment of this anime. For sure. And yeah, man. So, I guess that's it for the positives when it comes to Steins Gate, because there are some flaws to this anime. Not much, but still some. The very first negative thing about watching this anime is, well, its complexity. The same thing that I personally enjoyed is also kind of its downfall. Again, I enjoyed the complexity. I enjoy putting in that little bit of extra brain power to process what caused, what will come of, and where that puts events that happen in the anime. But not everyone will. Some people love a simple story and aren't really looking for a labyrinth to watch. So it will only appeal to certain type of people. And fortunately, I was that certain type of person. It becomes even worse when, to get what I think is the most enjoyment out of Steins Gate, you'd have to watch the anime in a pretty specific way that isn't clear unless you search up and find watch orders from Steins Gate cult elitists. And that's, again, not something everyone's going to instinctively do. Another thing that I didn't like at times about Steins Gate is the fact that for such an intricate anime where almost every single event is important to note, there are still times where things happen for the sake of convenience and to progress the story, and they happen pretty late in the story where the decisions made and events that take place are pretty important. There's not many. I can only think of 2 instances off the top of my head, but for a story that is basically built on choices and events mattering at every point in the story, it's a little disappointing when something happens that makes a past event that was previously important now obsolete. Now on to the very last thing that I guess isn't objectively a negative thing about the anime, but just my thoughts about finishing Steins Gate. If you, yes you, are a Kirisu and Okabe shipper, even after watching Steins Gate 0, regardless of the watch order, but especially if you watch the chronological order, fuck you. Simply, fuck you. If you can't see that Mayuri is simply the superior choice when it comes to a long-term partner for Okabe, then go fuck yourself. Simply. And I would love, absolutely love, what y'all have to say about that in the comments. And I would explain my reasoning here, but I could make a whole 6 to 7 minute rant video on this topic alone. Let me know if y'all would fuck with that, actually. Anyways, that's basically it for my thoughts, so let's get on to the rating. Steins Gate is simply such a good anime. If you're looking for a sci-fi drama anime about time travel that'll really make you use relatively more brain power than your average anime, then Steins Gate is most definitely the anime for you. It comes with a meaningful story and a lovable cast of characters that anyone can appreciate. Again, please consider watching it in chronological order. I swear you won't regret it. Now, I haven't seen any other sci-fi shows like Steins Gate, so I can't say that I can give an accurate genre rating, but for the overall rating, where I'm comparing it to every other anime I've ever seen, I'm going to be completely honest. Despite how much I personally enjoyed Steins Gate, I simply can't find it in my soul to give this anime a score that's in the 9s. The most that I'm willing to comfortably give Steins Gate is a 8.9 out of 10. So yeah, that's about it. And if you're interested, the next anime that I'll be reviewing is 5 centimeters per second, which is actually a movie. So theoretically, I should have the review of that out relatively soon. I'm expecting to get a good cry out of this anime, so I hope it lives up to those expectations. Anyways, thank you for watching, and